The Kingdom Hearts series is known for its riveting tale, memorable characters, and enjoyable moments. Of course, I'm talking about the game series, but what a bunch of people don't know is that there is an awesome manga adaptation of Kingdom Hearts. The Kingdom Hearts manga isn't a canon supplementation to the games and its lore, but an interpretation of its events that includes various additions and deviations. All in all, the manga is pretty awesome, but yo, this manga plays no fucking games. What I mean by this is that some of the content in the manga is stuff you wouldn't find in the games, and some of the shit is too fucking serious. Definitely stuff that you wouldn't expect from something associated with Disney. The fact that the manga was able to pull some of this crap off still has me flabbergasted, and I love it. Unfortunately, there are only 4 mangas in the Kingdom Hearts series, and we got confirmation last year that it will not continue. Sadness. And they are Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Rechain of Memories, and 358 Days Over 2. So let me give you the rundown of some of the biggest points on why the manga is serious, and hopefully you'll be a reader after I'm through with you. The Kingdom Hearts 1 manga, in my opinion, has to be the most tamest out of the bunch, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have its moments. How about the part where a Heartless steals a whore's heart? Yeah, you heard me right. In Traverse Town, when Sora first arrives after his island gets swallowed by the darkness, a shady prostitute tries to cast her charm on Sora and offer her services to show him a good time, and Sora reacts accordingly, only for a Heartless to swoop in and steal her heart. This scene was a pretty graphic interpretation on how the process works in its own right, but the first victim we saw had to be a prostitute? Like, what? Disney, fucking how? Next up is a pretty badass scene that soon follows after Sora seeks refuge from the Heartless at Cid's shop. After finding out the Heartless is just giving Sora some hard time, along with Sora having no intention to buy his stuff, Cid shows that he plays no games with the Heartless and busts out his Cid Blaster 5000. It's not the real name, but whatever, and obliterates all the Heartless outside of his shop while yelling, "Quit freaking obstructing my business!" in typical yet glorious manga fashion. Why couldn't Cid be this badass in the game? The next piece I want to point out is pretty dark. It expands on Maleficent being directly responsible for swamping Hollow Bastion as stated in the game with Heartless, but further added that Cid was the one who personally saved Aerith, Squall, and Yuffie as children when their home was lost to the Heartless. Like, Jesus, that's pretty fucked up, and I really wish this remained in the games. The last one I wanted to point out is actually a dispute of translation, but Hades called Maleficent a bitch. Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories. This is the manga where they start turning up the suggestive themes, and boy oh boy, they go fucking in. First off is that Larxene and Marluxia were drinking alcoholic beverages to toast their celebration in their supposed incoming victory in overthrowing the Organization 13. There, they were eating fried chicken and drinking some carbonated alcoholic drinks. It is unknown how much alcohol were in them since the number percentage was obstructed, but hey, it must have been enough for Larxene to enjoy them. Cold bitch. Now we get to the dirty parts. Nearly all the death scenes are fucking nuts. I'm only gonna talk about Vexen, Larxene, and Marluxia's. Let's start with number 4, Vexen. Remember how he blew up from an attack from Axel in the game? Yeah, pretty graphic, but in the manga, it gets a lot more intimate. Axel literally stabs this guy in the back. More like through the back, ripping his chakram through his body, ending him. Woy. Now we get to Larxene. She just, faded away in the game, but in the manga, Donald, Goofy, and Sora combine Blizzard, Fire, and a Goofy Tornado to create a water fountain type sprinkler deal. Harmless, right? Well, not for Larxene, since she fights with lightning. So she gets soaked with the water conducting electricity and then she explodes! Yep, ashes to ashes, fool. Last but not least, Marluxia, the big bad of the castle. So in the game, he just fades away like most of the others, but in the manga, he tries to use Naminé as a human shield. But Sora ain't having none of that shit and stabs this fool through the face with his Keyblade. Yikes. So, what else do we have in store? Kingdom Hearts 358 Days Over 2. It's a pretty comical manga that gets deep within the inner workings and the lives of Organization 13, and it has to be my favorite manga out of all of them. I don't want to spoil too much of it, so go read it. But I will say that Roxas owning Saïx is sheer joy and a beauty to watch. It's great. Like, his Keyblade turns into Oathkeeper in mid-attack and breaks through Saïx's lunatic like it was glass. Oh yeah, Roxas is the best. Oh yeah, Xion being quote-unquote naked while being reconditioned, while she isn't really naked since she's a puppet, or dolls as they call replicas in the mangas, but it goes a bit deep on how they work with that. It's a bit chilling actually. Kingdom Hearts 2. Now this manga series went back to being a bit tame. Psych, yeah right. There's a bunch of stuff in this serialization that is definitely out there. The first is kind of disturbing, and it's Yen Sid's hand-knitted Mickey Keyblade warmer. Like, do you see his face? And what the fuck is that? Like, can you chill? Next up is Zaldin getting killed by a Vexen replica. Brutally. In the manga, Zaldin was never killed at Beast's castle, but rather by a replica of Vexen later on in the world that never was, being frozen and then shattering into a million pieces. That ain't fun. The next one is one of my favorites, and it's in the Land of Dragons. After Sora defeats Shan Yu, he isn't killed, just down for the count. And then Xigbar appears and tells him that his usefulness has ended, and proceeds to shoot this dude in the head off screen. Like, you can see Sora's reaction to that. Fucking killer. Disney, what? That shit went from 0 to 100 faster than you could say boom, headshot. The next one is just more funny than anything else, and that is Sora getting murked by the Ice Titan in the Undrome. This one just made me giggle all over. What a scrub. Later on in the manga, it is shown that Saix mortally wounds Axel before he teams up with Sora, and adds to the reason why he decided to commit an attack suicide to help Sora. It is a dark layer of deepness that made me wish that this was in the game. The last one I want to cover is Demyx's manga death, in which he doesn't really die at Radiant Garden during the Battle of 1,000 Heartless. He lives all the way till the end in the world that never was, when Sora and company tackle the world. This scene tries to be lighthearted, but it's still pretty gruesome. It shows Demyx using a massive water attack aimed at our heroes, until Donald uses Blizzard to freeze it, and then it forms icicles above them, and yeah, what the fuck. So now you know, other than being pretty comical, the Kingdom Hearts manga is pretty serious when compared to the games, and brutal, and I love it. And I recommend reading it if you didn't. And hey, if you liked the video, please be sure to share it, rate it, and comment below. Until the next video on Kingdom Hearts, this has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.